A very good evening, Team Zimbabwe, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this evening, we are taking a look on what is happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. Vice President Chiwenga is in trouble as his brother, Apostle Chiwenga, is up in arms with him. So he recorded a very long video for him, and he actually responded to him and called him a man who cannot be a president. Let us not waste your time and go straight to the video.
If we had real civil rights movements and organizations,
yes,
because the utterances of Mr. Chiwenga are not only criminal, but they are unpresidential.
Yes.
As a vice president, he is a president in waiting. A president does not openly, blatantly, insolently declare violence.
Nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah should them not.
All right. Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and did what?
And said unto him, What said these men? And from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country, even from Babylon.
All right, let's end there. So I just want to remind you that the purpose of reading 2 Kings 20 was to tell you so that you'd never ask this question again before we watch the clip.
Mm-hmm.
That men of God are sometimes sent to the rulers of the people. The rulers of the people. If you remember what happened in 2 Kings chapter 10, Elisha was sent by God to the new incoming king of Israel, who was Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi. But Elisha did not go himself to Jehu. Elisha sent a message to Jehu. Read it in your own time. Yes. It's in chapter 9 and chapter 10 of 2 Kings. So a man of God can speak to a ruler directly, like what happened in 2 Kings 20, where the prophet Isaiah came personally to the state house and confronted the president, Hezekiah, and told the president that he had made a big mistake by hosting the emissaries or the representatives of the kingdom of Babylon and showing them the secrets of the nation of Judah. So a man of God can go himself to the palace to deliver a message. But as in chapter 10 of 2 Kings, the man of God did not go to the state house where the incoming king was. Of course, Jehu was somewhere else. But he sent a message through one of the sons of the prophets. So a man of God delivers a message through whatever medium that God allows him to use. As for me, I have written letters to presidents, and I told them I can come and speak to you. Of course, because of their insolence, they would not entertain me. And I am happy that they didn't entertain me, because the warnings I gave publicly, because after they shut their door against me, I then pronounced what the Lord had said publicly. And everything that I said publicly is happening and has happened and shall continue to happen. Because the man of God will speak, he doesn't activate his word. It's God who makes sure that the words of his servant happen. So I am delivering a message, and you can't ask me, why didn't you go directly to their office? That is not the only method by which servants of God deliver their messages. I can also deliver a message from wherever I am. If I can send a message, I can send a message. Elisha sent a message to the incoming king. I'm sending a message through this recording. To whom is this message going? I will pronounce it very soon, and I'll remind you of what I have said. Let's watch the video clip.
Anodziya mamchiti chima mani chenja kuti anzi ndakumuka kuenda kubasa regerai vakomana. Hatidi kuti ukanganiswe uzoita upenyu waremara handiti. Regerai ndati chi? Anodziya mamchiti chima mani chenja kuti anzi ndakumuka kuenda kubasa regerai vakomana. Hatidi kuti ukanganiswe uzoita upenyu waremara handiti. Regerai ndati chi?
So this is Vice President Chiwenga. Those who do not know language, the Shona language. In this video clip, he was warning those who indulge into unlawful foreign currency trading in Zimbabwe in the wake of the recently introduced new currency in Zimbabwe, that illegal forex traders should stop dealing in foreign currency. And he was warning them that if they would not stop, he was threatening them with violence. He said, I will maim you. You will be crippled for the rest of your life. So, there is no man of God in Zimbabwe who will speak publicly to these matters except myself. I almost died for this, and I will continue to speak until my last day. I have no problem with dying for telling the truth. So you shouldn't threaten me like he was doing. Munofira mahara. Apana ari kumbofa achizoisirwa mari mukasiketi kuti anzi haana kufira mahara. So it's disheartening. It's also embarrassing that Zimbabwe is a constitutional democracy whose constitution prides itself for upholding and celebrating and advancing the Bill of Rights, in which protection of people's lives and dignity and safety is guaranteed. Which constitution he swore to uphold when he was taking office. It is an indictment of the principle of constitutional democracy that Zimbabwe preaches so much about. But in practice, Zimbabwe is a full-blown out autocratic state.
Yes.
A criminal autocratic state. A criminal autocratic despotic state.
Yes. Yes.
Believers and fellow Zimbabweans, I am a man of God. When I speak to you, I don't speak to you on my desired issues. I speak to you on issues to do with the principles of godliness that are going to shape the future of our country. There is a reason why God raised me and not a Chinese preacher or a Sri Lankan or an American.
Yes.
I am a Zimbabwean for a reason.
Yes.
Let's read Proverbs 26 again. 28, Proverbs 28, verse number 15.
As a roaring lion
As a roaring lion,
and a raging bear,
a raging bear.
so is a wicked ruler over the poor people.
Again,
As a roaring lion
as a roaring lion,
and a raging bear.
a raging bear.
So is a wicked ruler over the poor people.
This is a classical snug fitting of this scripture
Yes.
into the profile of our vice president when we look into the utterances that he has just made. The human rights organizations, non-governmental organizations, civic rights organizations are very, very crippled in Zimbabwe because of fear of persecution. A different country right now, if we had real civil rights movements and organizations,
Yes.
because the utterances of Mr. Chiwenga are not only criminal, but they are unpresidential.
Yes.
As a vice president, he is a president in waiting. A president does not openly, blatantly, insolently declare violence to the people like this.
Yes.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, my dear, to the extent that this is what represents the best leadership our country can offer. It's embarrassing. Such impunity is of alarming levels, that a vice president can say these words and nothing happens to him. It's also shocking. If Vice President Chiwenga was in the United States of America, he would be forced to resign. Some few years ago, they almost killed me for talking about that he lacks leadership qualities. This is what I was talking about.
Yes.
The vice president wants people to trust the newly introduced currency, and his best strategy is ndokuremadzai. Umacharemara ndakurovai ndakubamurai. Trustai zigi kana kuti ndokuremadzai. They started by being far from reality, by trying to scare the people that if you don't take the zig now, it will be in short supply very soon.
Yes.
And the people ignored those empty threats.
Yes.
Now they are at a higher level. We will maim you if you do not trust the new currency. It's unpresidential. It's a reproach to national leadership.
Yes.
And this is a sign that we are in difficult. The future of our country is darker than its present.
Yes.
The future of Zimbabwe is darker than its present. If the person who is going to take over from Mr. Mnangagwa is Vice President Chiwenga, our future is darker than its present. Because we have got a man who does not know that he is not a boss. He is a servant of the people.
Yes.
The people who are supposed to salute Mr. Chiwenga are the soldiers that protect him and the police, not the people in the streets. The people in the streets are his employers. You don't threaten your boss with violence and hope to keep your job. Is that possible? It's not possible.
It's not.
The people of Zimbabwe are his boss. He is not a boss to Zimbabweans. He is a servant. Mr. Chiwenga, you are a civil servant, a public servant. You are not a boss. You are a general to military officers, but you are a servant. Your salary comes from taxpayers' money.
Yes.
There's no reason whatsoever for the people of Zimbabwe to be scared of you. You are supposed to be the one who fears the people, because you are supposed to serve the interests of the people. Now, there are so many things that a government can do to make sure that people live within the confines of the legal instruments functioning in that country. This is how and why we have a prosecuting authority. At the very most, the vice president could have threatened illegal traders in forex with prosecution.
Yes.
You will be arrested for dealing illegally in forex.
Yes.
That is the extreme level of threatening the people.
Yes.
Threat inodarika kusungwa kwevanhu, inoenda pakuremadzwa kwavanhu, iri criminal. The utterances of the vice president are of a criminal nature. Under a proper constitutional democracy, if we had a proper parliament,
Yes.
the vice president was supposed to be summoned to the parliament and he was supposed to be forced to issue a public apology for intimidating the very people he took an oath to protect.
Yes.
So, as a career soldier, nobody can tell him that giving orders cannot work outside the military barracks. He can't deal with the reality that he is no longer a soldier. And even if he was a soldier,
Yes.
he can't order the people of Zimbabwe around. He can only order his subordinates. A primary school teacher in the streets is not under any obligation to kneel down before a president. It's the president who must say greetings to you because you work for me.
Yes.
You are representing me in government. You are not a boss to the people. You are a servant
Yes.
to the people. So the scripture says, as a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the poor people. Every time they speak, they roar like lions.
Yes.
Shamiri mfiriji, shamine munyu, tichatuma masoja anokuzvandai, iko zvinezvi kuti ndokuremadzai. Now, Mr. Chiwenga has been in government for 6 years now. If we had proper institutions of governance, there was supposed to be a national administration academy where those who are entering into public office are taught how to be a public servant.
Yes.
And those are the people that could have educated him. You are supposed to speak within the confines of the law. This utterance is outside the law. There's supposed to be a commission of inquiry to see if there are other acts of violence that he has done so far as somebody who is prone to threaten the people that he governs with violence. I am happy that he made this utterance though, because instead of telling you that he lacks leadership qualities, he told you himself,
Yes.
I am not a leader. I am a dictator. Dictators are the ones who use violence to govern.
Yes.
A leader makes the people to understand. You buy the people's commitment, devotion to the national policy. You don't force them. If people are rejecting your currency, there is nothing you are going to do. You understand? So
Yes.
I represent the true church of God. And as a minister of the God of heaven, I want to officially say the true church is disheartened by the reckless utterances of the vice president of Zimbabwe that threaten the safety, the dignity, and the security of lives of the people of Zimbabwe. This is something that should never be ignored. So many people have disappeared in Zimbabwe. So many people have been sexually abused. So many people have been found dead. it is because those who are executing these assassinations, they are depending on these utterances. It's a cycle of fear. It's a couch of impunity. It's a couch of weaponization of state institutions. Under normal circumstances, in a proper democracy, the commissioner of police and the army commander should have spoken out and said, we regret the statements of the vice president. The security forces of this country distance themselves from reckless, criminal, and violent threats by a sitting vice president.
Yes.
The people of Zimbabwe must be sure and guaranteed that their safety is not.
Yes.
The people of Zimbabwe must be sure and guaranteed that their safety is not under any threat.
Yes.
There is no soldier who is going to conduct himself in a manner that violates the human rights of the people. There is no police officer. There is no agent of the security systems of the state who shall be involved in perpetrating acts of violence in pursuit of any policy of government. There are legal methods by which those who violate the law can be held accountable. Threatening them with maiming, handicapping, blinding them. It's a barbaric statement.
Yes.
It's a barbarous statement. So the church will never speak out, the false church. I will speak out because I don't belong to the false church.
Yes.
I represent the true church.
Yes.
Well. There's no one advising our politicians on what should be done and what is permissible and what is not permissible, because they use a culture of fear. Everyone who is around them must be bossed about. And so those who are supposed to tell him, no, you shouldn't say this, they are the ones who are required to clap hands for him. One of the admired African authors, which I admire very much myself, I have read almost all of his literary works, Chinua Achebe, said, worshipping a dictator is such a pain in the neck. It is not just a matter of standing on your head. With practice, anyone would learn to do that. The problem with a dictator is that you do not know from one moment to the next, from one day to the next, just what is up and what is down. You may rewind this video later if you have not understood me, but I'm very lucid to what I've said. Right. Zimbabwe will not be better in the administration of Mr. Chiwenga if he becomes president. If God allows it to happen, it's a nemesis, it's an ominous season for the people of Zimbabwe because of just what I have said now. The man does not understand that a nation is a family and the president is a father.
Yes.
When you look at the people, they are not your enemies. Yes. They are not frogs that you must kick out of the way. They are the very water that you as a fish cannot swim without. He doesn't know that. The concept of family is that which he lacks. And this is why there is no one, not even one person in the Chiwenga family who has seen the relevance of having someone with the opportunities that are in his hands. Number one is a commander of the defense forces. Number two is a vice president. He is the only vice president in the history of Zimbabwe whose ascension to power has been of zero consequence or zero significance to his own tribesmen, to his own people. Not even a single one. A few weeks ago, he donated a lot of money to a high school in Bulawayo because that's where he married recently. But in the very rural schools where his very brothers and sons and cousins and nieces and nephews in the Wedza area where he comes from, he has not built even a toilet. There's no toilet at St. Augustine's Chitida primary and secondary school. There's no hospital, there's no clinic there. There's no classroom, there's no toilet at different schools in Wedza, where I learned myself, because I know everything that I'm talking about. So when we have a leader who doesn't love his own relatives, and you look at yourself and you say, he will love the whole country. it's a disaster.
Yes.
There is not a single man from the Chiwenga family who even rose to the rank of a captain in the army until today. Not even one. Not even one. Now, those who talk about leadership, the Socrates, the Plutos, the Aristotles, even the Sun Tzus, the chairman Maos, they say the qualities of a leader, a great leader, is someone who can produce better people than himself as he rises to power. People that will walk away from you, you can point and say, that one was worse, but look at him, he is doing things better than I did myself. You raise, you nurture, you groom people. You love to see those that you love getting better. So this is the problem that is going to affect his ascension. And this is why I said I have a message to him. If he is going to be something better than what he has become now, he must actually go back to his own family and do some corrections and improve the lives of his brothers and sisters. Be relevant to your own relatives. That's what they do. Look at Mr. Mnangagwa. His very son is now a cabinet minister. His very son. How many people are in government from the Mnangagwa family? How many people are in government from the Mugabe family? I'm not advocating for a tribalization of governance, which is also an extreme. You don't have to be in government to benefit from the influence of your relative. But you can send children to school and they can start to stand on their own. You understand? Yes. Then they become independent. They don't need you to help them with money. And they can send their own families to school. Their children are fine, but you played a role in their grooming. Yes. Mr. Mugabe had the same situation. Go to Uganda right now. Mr. Museveni has got, a few months ago, he had to force his son to resign from the special ops in the defense forces, which he was heading, General Uwozi, yes, the son of Yoweri Museveni. Of course, if someone is excelling, what should stop him from taking responsibilities? He can't be stopped simply because he is close to the president. Donald Trump's daughter was in office holder in the White House. Together, I'm talking about Ivanka Trump and Eric, his other son, and his son-in-law. They were competent and they were involved in government. So when you are the only person from your tribe who has held such senior positions in governance for more than 30 years, you were not able to influence one person from your family to be something meaningful. Something is wrong with you.
Yes.
That detachment from family is dangerous for a national leader. You need a leader who has the concept of a family in his mind, in his heart, so that when you come as people from the locations, he sees you as a human being who also has his own family. So he values your rights. He accords you the respect that you deserve. My question is, how do you expect a man who doesn't care about his own family to be the father of the whole nation? That's my question. Now, I'm refraining a lot from talking about the whole Chiwenga family, which I know very well. I know very well because I'm a member of that family. And you can't say I'm talking nonsense. Remember, last time he tried to claim that he doesn't know me. I dared him to say it again. And I can prove that he knows him, that he doesn't know me. I dared him to say it again. And I can prove that he knows me very, very well. We used to talk, remember, on the phone. We used to meet, remember, at his home. You can't say he doesn't know me. But my point as a man of God is that the position that he holds with the disconnection between him and his own family is dangerous for the nation of Zimbabwe. You can't be known for buying coffins only when your relatives have died. What is your interest in buying coffins? What did you get from buying coffins? When your sister dies, you buy an expensive coffin. Your brother dies, you buy an expensive coffin. What are you interested in? Huh? Imagine people investing in your death, but when you are alive, they don't care about you. That's not normal. In Africa, when a son is successful in life, he enjoys to bring his family to celebrate his success together with him. When you see someone's success and he doesn't want to involve his family in that success, that is suspicious. Either that success is not straightforward or there is an ulterior motive, which I spoke about last time, and I said, when you have a relative who has money, who can influence his relatives, but he refuses to do that, don't force him. Some people's money came from rituals, and Sangomas will tell you, don't share your success with your relatives. It will disappear. You can give it to strangers, but not to your own people. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
There is no classroom that was built by him in his local area where his relatives go to school. He goes to build a school to his new father-in-law in Bulawayo there. What is it with such a leader? $20,000 yekuvaka classroom ku high school in Bulawayo. Kumsha kwake kuwedza kuna kana chibhorani chaakacheresa. What is wrong with him? So my utterance to him right now is that he should correct this. Otherwise, there will be no legacy for him. The state of his affairs right now are that he is going into a collision course with the history of Zimbabwe. He didn't listen when we talked about it and said it was a mistake for him to take the vice president's or a position. Watch the space. If we are alive, we will see. We show you. It was a mistake.
Yes.
And we said it was a mistake again to take the Minister of Health office because he was not qualified to hold that office. We thank God the new cabinet did not include him as a Minister of Health. And you can see the state of our hospitals. What is the result of having an incompetent Minister of Health? The state of Parrenyatwa is evidence that he failed dismally.
Yes.
The Constitution of Zimbabwe says, and the Health Act, the Minister of Health must be a qualified medical doctor. He is not a qualified medical doctor. I'm not speaking nonsense. It was a mistake.
Yes.
But who could say no to him? That's the point now. No one could say no to him. And this is why after telling the people, I will maim you, even his boss can't correct him. We don't talk like that. You don't threaten people with violence. It's not right.
Yes.
So I am not decampaigning him. I'm advising him. Whoever is advising him to his self-hate. A proper leader requires people who are not afraid of you.
Yes.
To confront you and say, this is wrong. That's a proper leader in government. So my last words are that the only chance that he has of making something out of his legacy is that he walks away from this authoritarianism of his and become humble as a public leader. He may get a chance to be the president of Zimbabwe. Among other things, he must reconnect with his family, be relevant to the people of his tribe, the Chiwenga people. You can't be well known for donating cars to Catholic priests, donating classroom blocks to your father-in-law's town, donating expensive and buying expensive cars to brothers-in-law. When your own brothers can't find a proper meal, it's embarrassing. Kuita mbiri yekutengera vana tsano maland cruiser manyowani hanzvadzi dzevakadzi. Mukoma wako achifamba netsoka muruzevha asina chekufambisa. That's not a leader. Tozviziva kuti vakadzi kana varoora vanogona kupinda mumusoro. Asa ufanira kupindwa mumusoro saizvozvo.
Yes.
These are the leadership qualities I was talking to you about. He needs to be a leader. A leader loves the people. The problem with the people is that you can't love the nation when you don't love your own kith and kin from your own family. You can't.
Yes.
It's just simple.
Yes.
I am in the church right now as Apostle Chiwenga. All the members of our church, they are my children. I can't be careful. I can't love them. I can't protect them if I don't take care of my own children, my own family. I do the least that I can afford to do. Those who are close to me, they know that. Unofanira kuita relevant kuhama dzako. Mwari akakuisa mufamily for that purpose. Kana usingadi hama dzako, nyika kure. Unongochidi nyika. If you don't even love your own blood, your own relatives, why would you need to love the whole nation? Right now in Berengwa, people are excited. Zhishavani people are happy because the scale of power is tilted towards them. Every rat and every cat from the Mnangagwa family is driving a new car. Every mouse has got some gold money in their pockets. Where the money is coming from may be a different issue. We shouldn't take the money that is supposed to be building the country and put it into your own family. But the point is, at least they remember their own people. They remember their own people. It is scary when you see a leader who has risen to that level and you go into his office, you don't see anyone that comes from his family. It's scary. If you don't love your own relatives, how can we expect you to love those that you have no relationship with? It's a contract. Govern me and I will be governed by you. How can we expect him to govern the nation? To be the father of the nation? Look at him now. He's telling the people, that's what he's good at. Imagine kuti baba vachisvika mumba mande vachibva kubasa ka vachinzi namai mauya dedi mirirai ikoko mwendo muremadza aizvi muda kuremadza vana venyu futi saka mukaremadza vana nhai vachiwenga muchatungamirani. Mari yemadiamonds yakabiwa vamugabe vakazvitaura hakuna akambozvipikisa masoja anga ariko kwachiyadzwa varipo masoja vari involved pakubiwa kwemari havasati varemadzwa nanhasi vema$10 emustreet ava ndovamuda kuremadza kuyo kwachiyadzwa muchavaremadza rini munovaremadza rini vakatora 15 billion emadiamonds vana henrita rushwaya vakabatwa negold vakaconvictwa necompetent court of law muchavaremadza rini vana henrita rushwaya kuve drugs scandal muchavaremadza rini kuvana priska mupfumira muchavaremadza rini vana ignatius chombo vakaenda kukoti kasingaperi nenyaya dzecorruption dzeland muharare hakuna akamboti ndichava Mr. Chiwenga was seen at Marange Apostolic Church. We saw him in Methodist Church. We saw him at Mwaja's Church. We saw him at Makandiwa's Church. This very man who is threatening people with violence, they applauded him and said, he is a general par excellence. Is this excellent leadership when a vice president threatens people with disability? Ndokuremadzai. Vana Makandiwa ndiye munhu wamaipembedza uyo ari kutaura kuda kuremadza vanhu ndo zvakaita munhu akaropafadzwa naMwari here. Is this what a leader who is coming from God should do? Vatungamiriri vanobva kuna Mwari ndo zvakaita mutungamiriri akabva kuna Mwari here. Izvezvi zvandatotaura izvi kunotori nevachafuma vaida kundiremadza mangwana kuseni vachida kupruvha kuti havaremadze vanhu ka vanoyawo zeremadzaini akakutaura kuti tinoita violence ndiani toda kukurova tikuratidza kuti hatisi vanhu veviolence, we are peaceful people. So this is what I wanted to say, believers. Mr. Chiwenga is not fit to be a president. He must go back to his family and start to learn to be a family man, loving his own tribesmen, take care of his own family, and learn to be a civil servant. He is no longer a military officer anymore. It's said that we have such a development and it should be condemned. And this video clip was played here for the sake of condemning it. We condemn it with all the contempt that it deserves. It's criminal. It's an act of violence. It's a violation also of the law. If we had human rights organizations in the country, they should have criticized the vice president for making these reckless statements. So this is what I wanted to say. If you are a military officer, when you are sent to harm the people by politicians like this, you should refuse. It's better for you to lose your job. God will find a way to sustain your family. But you can't say boss to a person like this, who speaks to the very people that he promised in an oath to protect. Now he's threatening to disable them. It's uncalled for. Mr. Chiwenga, in his personal capacity, has no capacity to maim anyone. He's a sick man. Vachiwenga zvavakaita paipe vari one havana kana munhu one wavanoremadza vangangoremadzana vanhu vane ma50-60 ikoko vakomana vepazimeximo vakaona naChiwenga vari vega vanopukutwa zvavasati vamboona. He is a weak man, he is too old, he can't fight anyone. He is trusting to use the army, young people in the army and young people in the security services. Those are the people he is going to use to maim the people. And we have to speak like this so that some of those young people in the army, after listening to me like this, will realize that we shouldn't listen to these old leaders whose idea of governance centers on violence. That's not leadership. That's not leadership. That's not leadership. Okay, believers, I have spoken unashamedly.
Yes.
The fact that the vice president is a cousin of mine has nothing to do with the work that I'm doing. Zimbabwe is not owned by the Chiwenga family.
Yes.
And I am not an apostle in the Chiwenga family. I am an apostle of God in the church. The institution that I serve is even bigger than Zimbabwe itself. So when I speak, I don't use tribalistic ideologies.
Yes.
I speak from the tenets of pure doctrine as a servant of God. You understand?
Yes.
Yes. And so you shouldn't think that if I know you or we are related in the blood and you do something that affects a nation, I will be quiet to honor a selfish, personal, self-serving, a nepotistic ideology or bias. Never. I got nothing from the government of Zimbabwe through anyone, through corruption practices. My days in government were based on working, based on my competencies, so I owe nobody an apology. I'm a man of God, and a man of God has no relative. My two relatives are believers. When I talk from a gospel perspective, he is not a relative of mine.
Yes.
Hama dzangu ndana Pastor Baloya. Vanotenda ndivo hama dzangu.
Yes.
Ekwachiwenga ihama dzangu dzepanyama. Kuvhangera hadzisi hama dzangu. That's why there is no Pastor Chiwenga or Evangelist Chiwenga or Deacon Chiwenga. Unofunga kuti ndinodzishaiwa hama dzekuita madikoni dzekwachiwenga. Unofunga ndodzishaiwa. My brother was here a few days ago, just because it was a personal family initiative and program that he had to attend, but zvevhangeri ndezvekudenga, ndezvekumusha kwatiri kuenda, kwete kumusha kwatinobva. So I talk about him because he occupies a position of national importance. The lives of Zimbabweans are at stake because of his position. And this is why I talked about governance even before he was a vice president. We spoke to those who were there at that time. If he leaves office and another Chimuti comes in, we will still comment regardless. If he leaves office and...
So this is what Apostle Chiwenga said about VP Chiwenga, and honestly, he has actually spoken the truth, nothing but the truth. So I do not know your thoughts. Thank you very much for coming. I would have wanted to shout out to a lot of people right here. We have Memory Gatsi, thank you very much for coming. We have Chatufa, thank you very much, my brother, for joining us live. We have Elliot Pindire, thank you very much, Elliot. Ngosi Pile, Nathaniel, thank you very much. Temba Maposa, thank you very much. Edgar, thank you very much. Joseph Lester, thank you very much, Team Zimbabwe, for coming. And thank you very much for the support you've been offering us right here on Africa and Beyond Television Network. So I don't want to waste much of your time. We have taken too much time on this address by Apostle T.F. Chiwenga. But this is what is happening. I do not know your thoughts. Let us talk more in the comment section as we continue to engage. My name is Ronald Wekoma Kucha.